Ladies and gentlemen,
they want war. Crying babies looking for food. Starvation, the recipe. People subdued. When the people you trust got it in for you. Deceit is the word of the day in every clue. Don't let it go. It's from the days of old. Time is up, but some still do not know. Can I make up my mind? Is it worth the dime? Do I have to take a minute just to make it mine? Life's never fair, but don't listen to the TV. Go out and take a listen to the streets with the people in the slums and the homeless bums with degrees and degrees sitting under a tree. It's not easy in the world for the poor man, the one that brought you to reality. See, they don't want you to know about the black sheep. Leaving 7 roads to the 12 families all around the globe with an ancient code. Is it really asking a lot to say a dead old? Cause we sitting on the earth looking back at extinct. And I'm standing on some ground that's about to sink. I ain't scared for a minute, I ain't about to blink. But I documented for the world what I see and think. Feel we on the call and I feel we on the break. All Congress gonna do is waste paper and ink. Vote or die. You voted and you'll die. You can have it both ways, can't say it's a lie. You can march all you want, but they playing you wrong. They only understand war, it's the same old song. They want war, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more. But they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. All they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more. But they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. Like a lotus coming out of the mud with colors, I create envy in those with power but jealous. I unify the poor with my song, the hell with the others. Descended the way they treat indigenous brothers. Cause I understand we link forever. They try to hate us even though that we keep it together. I'm not talking about controlling the air or the weather. I'm talking about maintaining the truth, the high endeavor. A rebel drops bombs in the midst of trouble. The free world counterattack and now there's double. But nature gets the shit in the way that's subtle. If you stop the machines for a minute, you might hear. But they won't, cause the TV's whisper in the ear. And capitalism has eyes that don't hear. And they cloud up and get crazy and won't stare. And like an ab, it's hard to get an ass to listen. Living like this is like living in prison. It's hard to keep hope when you're living in prison. The spiritual thoughts, so yes, the mental prison. The outside, yes, it's got to get through. Something's gotta die, so something here can live. Your life is nothing. You got nothing to give. Keeping the spiritual, yes, disguised as religion. Controlling your mind, the mental prison. They want war, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more. But they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. All they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more. But they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war.
Alrighty. Check. I hope everybody's doing good this evening. Let me just see if the settings are correct here. 2 seconds. All right, we in the house. Got it. Okay, so I thought this was hilarious when I saw this. This pretty much sums up a lot of where many people's expectations are, where their life, many people's lives are at this point right here in this meme. And I just thought it was so hilarious. Yeah, I couldn't help myself, but let me put on make sure I got on my reading glasses and stuff so I can engage this a little bit more. I hope everybody had a good day, a good Sunday with your families and your loved ones. Even in these rough times, and I mean that. I wish everybody have that because things aren't promised tomorrow, and that's just not with the United States. That's just any place on earth. If you don't have your shit together, you can fall into chaos. Chaos seems to have that dynamic where it attracts. It's like a ball of energy in itself. And if it can bind, if something else wants to bind with it, the problem with chaos is that if you don't see it from a distance, you might actually bind to it for a second, thinking that it's something good for you. And next thing you know, you waking up in chaos every day. I mean, that's really what it's like. And you can see it from a distance. And I guess that's what politics is. That's what, on a global scale, that's what geopolitics is all about. When you get a chance to hear different leaders speak, you get a chance to witness free and fair elections. You get to watch it on TV these days. Back in the day, you didn't have that. People, when they had the opportunity to vote, folks went out there and voted and even fought if they were, denied it. Today, people have gotten used to being able to privileges, to civil rights. I mean, civil rights has been expanded from only white male landowners could vote to every citizen can vote. Every citizen is recognized as a human being, as equal, and can vote and can actually do it at your fingertips. A lot of people, some people have to stand in line. Some people get told on the last day that the voting polls got moved somewhere else. But hey, all in all, voting rights have been expanded since the beginning of the country, and so I think a lot of times we can take that for granted. Especially in the US. I mean, we grow up, we hear about elections, and we get a lot of times when we're not engaged ourselves. I mean, at least this was my experience. When I was younger, typical inner city youth. I mean, even though I had families that very political, very organized, also in before local politics, they were into the national politics, the civil rights era. So although they were very engaged, that kids are kids. Kids don't want to necessarily have to engage these things. Kids don't necessarily understand these things. So we grow up with the privileges of what the last generation did. And what the last generation did just so happened to be in my lifetime, people fought for our rights to vote. That's what the civil rights era was about. Not just voting, but also the right to have equal pay for the same job. I mean, who wouldn't want equal pay for the same job? I mean, what person today, I mean, I can speak for myself. I'm sorry. I'm proud of myself. I'm proud of my work ethic. I'm proud of my get up and go, get something done attitude. But I would never want to be on the job standing next to someone that's a good partner to have on the job, a good colleague. Know that they're a different color from me, a different ethnicity from me, a different gender from me, and to think that I'm going to deny them the same opportunity as me for the same effort at work. I just can't do that as a person. So I understand what the civil rights era was about. It's just about being fair. It's about being a real person. It's about not being a hypocrite. You see what I mean? It's about not expecting more for doing less than the next person. You see what I mean? Just basic fairness. And so I grew up privileged because the last generation had to fight that fight. I didn't have to. I could grew up playing Atari. You know what I'm saying? One of my friends I didn't have an Atari, but my best friend had an Atari. I used to crash at his spot. We play Atari all damn night. You know what I'm saying? Just as a teenager, 12, 13, this age, right? 10, 11, something like that, whenever Atari came out. But in any case, I grew up with I witnessed when it used to only be black and white TV to now it's color TV. I witnessed that in my generation. Yeah, and I've witnessed it being from them old ass bubble TVs to flat screen TVs now. I witnessed when, I mean, half of my life, some of the greatest things I've ever did, we didn't have cell phones, God damn it, that could take pictures. I wish I could go back to my 90s. I was really digging it. I was really digging the 90s with my life, doing the things I was doing. How many photos do I have? We didn't have mobile phones. We couldn't just take a click like that. We'd have to pull out a damn Polaroid camera. You'd have to send somebody down to the shop to get a Polaroid camera. That's if you was cool like that. You see what I'm saying? Today, nobody, people have forgotten. This generation doesn't understand that. And a lot of times we take things for granted. And that's something for young people to think about. But in any case, here you have MAGA. And this meme perfectly represents the moment in history they are looking at, whether they want to acknowledge this or not. Again, you can't make everybody drink the water. It's not your job to make everybody drink the water. Sometimes you have to rebuke people that just don't want to be sane. But this is what we have witnessed. And I feel for them because they were told this stuff. People on the Epstein list, they were told they're going to get that list. And they beat their chest. They were so proud at that moment. So proud because, by the way, who wants to look at themselves as a pedophile, right? That's not a good look. No one wants to be the asshole in the story. No one wants to be the pedophile, the hypocrite Christian. No one wants to be the racist bastard. You know what I mean? No one wants to be the person that's holding up the rest of the planet. No one wants to be that villain in the story. No, not even in Scooby-Doo did that happen, right? But no one wants to be that villain. But here's the thing. The truth of the matter is, MAGA people, they ran on this platform. They were told this, and they're grown-ass adults. They're grown-ass adults. Nobody have to pull their pants up for them. They could do it themselves. It's their responsibility to do this. But they ran on a platform calling other people pedophiles. They ran on a platform of bigotry. What they tried to do in their stupid-ass, ignorant manner is they tried to couple homosexuality with pedophilia. That's what they did. They tried to mask that shit. They tried to connect that to pedophilia to liberals. That's what they did. And see, they got to beat the chest and act like they weren't the pedophiles. They're Christians, Yeah, we're Christians, and you're changing our country. We're losing our values. No, 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 no. All you got to do is look up all these little Christians that get caught up in pedophilia in the United States of America. Christian cults. Mike Johnson, MAGA Mike Johnson. Do you know what I'm talking about? MAGA Mike Johnson, your homeboy, pedophile, goes after his own daughter, MAGA Mike Johnson. See, what they did was they plotted. This is why I'd still have to acknowledge MAGA people. I'm always willing to dialogue with them. I don't care. They are Americans. If they're American citizens, fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. But this is my issue with them. They try to deny the pedophilia when it's them. They try to do that. And what they did was they fell for someone else's very powerful billionaire's ability to understand socio-political dynamics. See, they could read your all's brain. They know you're bigots. They know you're not too intelligent. They know you hate homosexuals. They know you hate Hispanics. You hate blacks. Pretty much, right? So what they were able to do was bait you. But these people are so sophisticated. They got billions of dollars around you. They got the TV. They have the internet. See, they can sell you these ideas. And you fell for the pedophile hunting only because you could couple it to liberalism. The moment it's not coupled to liberals anymore, you are not against pedophiles. You're not against pedophiles in your own backyard, your own state, your own your own elected officials. You are definitely not against it. And this is what MAGA is having to face today. That some of the pedophiles, they some of the pedophiles they thought they were chasing, they're just coming to realize these are the people we've been telling you're fucking corrupt the whole time. That's what they've been told. How come you MAGA people don't go out there and ask MAGA Mike Johnson what's up with his homeboys who are pedophiles, if you care about pedophiles? But yet the leader of the Congress has two close associates that are convicted pedophiles. He ran with a man. He was elected on not elected, he tried to run with a running mate that was a damn pedophile. MAGA Mike Johnson. It's loads of these folks in this so-called conservative, fake conservative thing. They mask themselves as something, and it's just a mask. It's just an act. You know, I'm going to be a Christian. I'm a conservative Christian. Yeah, and then you find out they're watching tranny porno. What's the guy? This dude, oh my God, Mark Robinson, North Carolina, ran for governor. Black guy, African American. He came out there beating his chest, Mark Robinson, and God, I'll be damned. I played this video so many times. We covered this so many times before the election, but that wasn't good enough for MAGA folks. See, MAGA folk was like, you know what? You got a point. Mark Robinson is sick. He's an African American. He even went out there and said that African Americans should be the ones paying reparations. He said all this stuff. He was talking about how you were losing it and talking about gay people. And then you find out the man has a tranny, he has an account to a trans porn site where he's on there making comments talking about, yeah, they got the best of both worlds. And, all like literally Mark Robinson, the conservative, the man that thinks African Americans should pay reparations, likes tranny porn himself. Do you watch tranny porn, anybody? I don't. But hey, if you want to, that's up to you. But I'll be damned. Don't go out there trying to act like you're not doing that. That's what we're talking about. And Mark Robinson, I'm sorry, the lieutenant governor, one-time lieutenant governor of North Carolina, that is the type of Christian conservative he is. MAGA Mike Johnson is the type of Christian conservative who has very close associates, people he called his close friends and mentor, that are pedophiles. He does. And MAGA, they ain't going to go after him. They're not going to go after him. No, MAGA Mike Johnson goes out, sits there and lies his goddamn ass off to these same people. That he gaslights these people and talks down to these people, and he's going to come out and lie again tomorrow because he knows you're stupid. He knows you don't hold people accountable. MAGA does not hold white men accountable. Not when they're pedophiles, not when they're hypocrites, and not when they rob American people's money. They just simply do not. That's what's going on right here. So look at this. Pam Bondi. She went out there, she's another brave one. I bet you she got her cross on too some days, She's out there going to stomp out liberalism, going to go get rid of the liberals, because she's a Puritan herself, She's a pure Christian lady, Hey, hanging out with Trump, hanging out with Mike Johnson makes her a pure Christian lady. Hanging out with Elon Musk makes her a pure Christian American woman, huh? Then you find out in the next scene, poof, we take the hood off. Let's see who it really is. Oops, it's Trump. People on the Epstein list. Let's go see who it is. Oops, it's Trump. Put the hood back on. Don't want to look at it. Don't want to talk about it. Can't deal with it. Yo, I mean, if it wasn't grown-ass people making these type of choices, I would feel even more sorry for them than I already do. But I feel sorry for them because I have health care. A lot of them don't, and a lot of them is about to get it taken because of their ignorance and their naivety, being naive as hell. You see, being too simple minded. They're about to lose their goddamn health care. Their homes are about to get run over by natural disasters. And the man who gave the pedophile wealthy the biggest tax cut on earth when they didn't even need it, that the country has ever witnessed, and probably the entire world has ever witnessed. At the same time he did that, he's going to sit back and watch you all beg over crumbs, man. Got your elected officials on the state level going at each other, trying to figure out, we don't know why we didn't have the warning signs. We didn't have enough, trying to figure out who to blame. Oh, let's go blame Obama. Let's go blame Biden. Let's go blame Biden. Meanwhile, the person we're blaming, Biden and Obama, are not even president. And the goddamn president, who is Trump, is telling them, we ain't going to help you. That's your business. You use it. You pay federal taxes. But now, from one day to the next, none of that federal income tax money can be used for that natural disaster to help you, Texas. Any of those other states is about to feel it, because it's going to happen every year. 4 years, as long as Trump is in office, you're going to feel it. Yeah, just from one day to the next, you don't have a right to those federal dollars that you paid that were collected from you and other Americans. And by the way, those federal dollars that a lot of these red states depend on more than the blue states, a lot of that federal dollars is generated in the blue states. Yes. So, of course, blue states want something for their federal dollars. Of course, the people that pay the taxes want something for their federal dollars. Of course they do. They would be dumb as fuck not to. You would have to be a complete, utter moron to not want something for all those federal tax dollars. And what do they get? This is the best they get. This is the best they get right here. People on the Epstein list. Oops, let's see who it is. Oh, damn, it's Trump. Put the hood back on. That's the best those blue states get. They get to deal with a bunch of simple-minded bigots that haven't figured out that, damn, it's lame to be a bigot. That's just a lame-ass life, to be a bigot. That's really just lazy. That's just lazy. I mean, didn't you learn from the Olympics that were held that was held in Germany when Hitler was the president, was the leader? Didn't you learn from that? Okay, apparently not. But Hitler learned a little something. That's for damn sure. You see, and God bless those people, African Americans, that went over there that were facing discrimination and racism in their own country and actually were willing to fight in World War II and come over here into Europe and kick some goddamn Nazis' asses. Yes, I'm proud of that. You see, because that helped change the world, and everyone else saw those black men walk around in Europe after they kicked those Nazis out, and those people, those white people, European people that were getting treated like shit by Hitler said, thank you. And they remembered that. They just said, thank you. Finally, somebody got rid of this tyrant. That's what really happened. And you have people like Trump and these MAGA people that they don't have anything better to do but to try to erase it. Well, you can only erase it in your own mind. You can only erase it in your own mind. You can't erase it around the world. The rest of the world is laughing at you. Right now, Europe is looking at the United States saying, damn, we almost made that mistake they made. But almost is not the same as making it. It's not. You see, they knew the ledge. These MAGA folk in the U.S., they don't know the damn ledge. I don't know how many of y'all listen to Rakim, but they don't know the ledge. These MAGA people. And this is what you're facing. They think when you get out there to the ledge and have to take the next step, you could just turn your ass around and say, never mind. No, you can't. You can't say never mind, baby. You can't say never mind. The pedo president is going to be around tomorrow, whether you like it or not, because you voted for his ass. You campaigned for his ass. You sat your ass out here on social media, Facebook, YouTube, TikTok, all these places, and said all that shit. Why Trump is going to do this and Trump is going to do that. That's what y'all did. Your representatives went out there and stood up every day and lied and lied and lied, did everything they could do. They even employed the richest man on earth. I mean, how fucking lame is that? How lame is that? You have to go get the richest man on earth to fucking help you? I mean, that is lame. That is lame. I'm not going to hate on the richest man on earth, but goddamn, nobody should be kissing his ass like that. You shouldn't just give up everything like that you need to win an election that bad? You got to go get employed, even though you hate immigrants. Even though you're talking about immigrants coming here and doing this and that, you have to employ the richest man on earth who is an immigrant himself and give him access to the United States government in ways that have never been done before, that your poor ass in Texas could never get. MAGA people, if you voted for him, I'm just saying, in these red states, you MAGA folk, you could never get that access. But an immigrant did. An immigrant did. Yeah, an immigrant did. You know something? I was by the way, if you guys got any questions, because I'm going to play a few things, but I want to engage the chat a little bit more and the listeners a little bit more. So if you got any questions or anything like that, or any topics you want to talk about, just drop it in the chat and let's have a little talk. But check this out. Vivek Ramaswamy. I never got around to telling you what I found out about Vivek Ramaswamy. Also, that man, he got some ties to Epstein too. Yes, he does. He does. I mean, it is crazy. He does. Where is he at? Talk about immigrants. Where you at, buddy? Where are you at now? Where's the guy at? J.D. Vance's wife? Immigrant. I mean, and now don't get me wrong. When I say immigrant, I mean, you just moved into this country. You just moved to this country. You're the first person that moved to this. You just came here. Your family's not from here. That's what I mean by immigrant. You might be first or second generation immigrant. Okay? You might be third generation immigrant. Fair enough, third. But listen, MAGA is filled with third generation immigrants and first generation immigrants that act like they know what the fuck it is to be a United States citizen and complain about everything like they're the ones who laid down their life for the country. I'm tired of these kind of goddamn people. And look at this Vivek. He's one of them. Look at this Kash Patel. He's one of them. Phonies. But I'm not the one who voted for an anti-immigrant platform. My candidate was not anti-immigrant. It's the MAGA folks that were. And then they got bogus ass immigrants. They have the worst example of immigrants in their whole fucking party. Corrupt. Thieves. People that look down on other Americans like they ain't shit. That's what you brought in here, MAGA folks. And you can't just turn around now. You're going to have to deal with this. For real. Your families are going to have to deal with this just like every other American. See, all those liberals that's going to get some of their health care affected, you will too, MAGA. Yeah, your families will too. Your sister, your brother, your mother, your father, your uncles, your cousins. Yes. That's what you're going to have to deal with now. See, when that hurricane comes, just like it's going to be some flooding in New York, yeah, it's going to be some flooding in those red states too. And you're going to have to deal with who you elected as a president and how he's going to talk to you. And you're going to have to deal with your elected officials on the state level and how they're going to look for somebody's finger to point, although you're paying their fucking salaries. Yes, you can't walk away from this one. You're going to have to man and woman up, MAGA. You are. And we're going to be watching. I'm going to be watching from the outside, seeing if you know how to man a woman up or if you just talk shit like this meme. I think it's talking shit, personally. I don't want to put too much responsibility on you MAGA folk. A lot of you ain't going to clean none of this shit up. Okay? A lot of you are fucked up. A lot of you are bigots. A lot of you are dumbass, phony, hypocritical immigrants, just as fucked up, don't like America, are just some greedy bastards and come to the U.S. to get some money and have learned that, hey, if we talk this little racist shit and, say the things that they want, we can get some more money for ourselves and they will be none the wiser. They're so stupid, they won't figure it out. Cash Patel, total fucking hypocrite. I mean, the day you have Joe Rogan pointing out MAGA hypocrites, yo, what is did the cow just jump over the moon? Has hell frozen over? Like, yes, hell is frozen over to these MAGA people. That's what we're witnessing. That's what we're witnessing. You ain't going to be able to come together to stop this president from whipping your ass. And you have not. You have not. Those wealthy got that tax break. You're not one of them. Those wealthy got you to give up your due process. You just gave it away like a little bitch too. Yeah, take my due process. My ancestors fought. Whatever happened to the goddamn War of Independence, the Civil War, the Constitution? Weren't you ready to carry your gun to defend it? No, you just gave it to him like a bitch. You just gave it up to a wealthy immigrant and a billionaire fucking pedo. You just gave it up. Take my due process. I don't need it. If you can go catch some liberals, fuck it, I'll give it up. Damn. That's just some weak shit right there, boy. I'm like, what the hell? Oh my God. You guys, oh my goodness. This is so funny. I'm just enjoying it. I'm enjoying it for real. It's hilarious, But this is what made me laugh is Rick K. If they had something on Trump, ooh, I don't even know what EWE means. I'm sorry. But if you had something on Trump, I think you meant to write, do you really think they wouldn't have released it? Who are you talking about? They? Who is they? Who is they? Aren't you? Who is they? What are you talking about if they have something on Trump? Are you talking about Pam Bondi? Are you talking about you talking about Biden? Who are you talking about? They? I mean, I don't know. This is so funny. If you think they had something on Trump, wouldn't you? You haven't seen anything yourself yet on Trump? God damn, what's wrong with you? Even if they don't release it, that's the problem. You can't see it for what it is. God damn. You can't see it for what it is. All the shit that you done learned about Trump and Epstein so far, all of that stuff. Trump is not telling you he wasn't hanging out with Epstein. Trump is not telling you that he ain't really debating a whole lot. You don't require Trump to prove anything, I mean, I'm sorry. Trump is rotting at the flesh. He has been born a rich boy whose daddy took care of everything for him. He is a classist. He is nothing like you. You have to take yourself out of your situation and try to put yourself in the mindset of a classist that leaves the penthouse of a New York City skyscraper every day of his life, come down on his way to school, get in the limousine car, and before they get in the car, his daddy throws a homeless man on the street a nickel, and then gets in the car and goes off and says, "Hey, I'm a great humanitarian." You really got to put yourself in that mindset. Do you like a president that says all you got to do is grab him by the pussy? I mean, what are you talking about, Rick? If they had something on Trump, they would have already. Didn't they show you that? They did have something on Trump. They showed you. You voted for it. That's what you did. When they showed you what they had, you said, damn, man, this man said all you got to do is grab him by the pussy. It's a self admission. You were like, but that's not really that bad. I mean, what do you say stuff like that, Rick? Is that what you do? I mean, is that normal for you? People did point it out. You didn't get it. Process, these whole processes don't just happen overnight. When they have RICO cases on cartels and gangs, any type of thing, trafficking, sex traffickers, all of this shit, that shit takes time. You think they just throw all the information out when they're doing their investigations? They just throw it out there to the public before they can convict you for sure? Come on. Here, let me just remind people of something. This sometimes just breaks my damn heart. Let's just get into it real quick. Let's get into this one. Hold on.
Speaking out in this interview on my free will, on my own free will.
Okay. Was anything promised to you if you do this interview?
There was nothing promised to me for doing this interview. No.
Hang on, guys. Yeah. We need quiet. Yeah. One more time, please.
No, there was nothing promised to me for doing this interview.
Excellent. Everything that you will tell us during this interview, is it the truth?
Yes, everything that I say at this interview will be the truth.
Absolutely. Okay. So let's start with, how did you meet Donald Trump?
I met Donald Trump at some parties I attend that I was working for Mr. Jeffrey Epstein. There was about 3 or 4 times that I had encounters with Donald Trump.
And how old were you when you met him?
I was 13.
13.
Mm-hmm.
And how did the initial
So, now who asked that question? Somebody made a statement. I gotta go back to this statement. It's hilarious in retrospect. Here it is. Hold on. Who was it? Who wrote this? If they had, yeah, it was Ricky K. If they had something on Trump, do you really think they wouldn't have released it? Okay, this is for you. This is for you. Take a listen. This is released.
initial meeting? How did that work?
The first time that I met Donald Trump was...
Guys, seriously,
Okay, you can hear that?
we need absolute quiet.
Okay, sorry.
And the first time that I met Donald Trump was at a party at Jeffrey Epstein's mansion. There was an orgy going on, and he was kind of watching off in the distance. And he basically asked if I could come over and give him a hand job. And at first, I wasn't very comfortable with it. This was like my first party, and I didn't think that was my responsibility. But my recruiter told me that I needed to do it, so I agreed to. And then he, I began to. Sorry, this is a little difficult, but before I gave him a hand job, he kind of slapped my hand away and said, "You need to use a glove." And the recruiter ran over and handed me. No one touches Mr. Trump's penis without a glove, so I
you say it's fake. So you can't really have it both ways. Right. So people try to tell folks, they try to speak. And what do folks call them when they do try to speak? They call them fake. It doesn't matter when they speak. It doesn't matter what evidence they show. It doesn't matter how much is corroborated. People just, MAGA folk repeat the same cycle over and over and over. MAGA folk repeat the same cycle. They say just what was said in the comments. Don't you think if they had something on Trump, they would show it, they would have exposed it, they would release it? These are some of the things in the files that you're already watching that have been released. You just saw the Wall Street Journal release something that you didn't know previously that is also in the federal files, the Epstein files, and you call that fake. And you don't need any evidence to prove that it's fake. But the point is that no matter all the individuals, no matter who they are, no matter how much is corroborated, when you are shown, you then try to turn around and walk back your shit on this pedophile hunting stuff. You're not trying to hunt pedophiles. You're not trying to hunt pedophiles in the Democratic Party. You're not trying to hunt pedophiles in the Republican Party. You MAGA people are not trying to hunt pedophiles. A lot of you are the goddamn pedophiles. I'm talking about Trump. I'm talking about the friends of MAGA Mike Johnson, his mentor, and his other best friend who raped his own daughter. You see, that's what I'm talking about. So again, you can't, to be fair, you just can't have it both ways. I can't have it both ways. It just doesn't work that way. You see, Biden doesn't have a daughter saying that he raped her. He doesn't have, Kamala Harris doesn't have a child that said, "Oh, you raped me." You see what I'm saying? So we can't talk about that, but MAGA Mike Johnson does. MAGA Mike Johnson has a friend, a mentor who did that. You see what I mean? He have two of them, two friends that did that. One was his running mate. Trump has his history. Hey, if Biden had his history, wouldn't you want to talk about that? But he didn't. He's not. Where is he at? He's not in the. Is Kamala Harris in the Epstein files? You haven't heard one person utter it. And then if it was, I could say the same thing back to you. I could say, well, how come you don't just expose it? If Kamala Harris was in the Epstein files, how come they just don't show it? I could say the same damn thing. You see what I mean? So these are some of the evidences. These are just some of the evidences. You could say it's fake all you want. It's been said. You're being told. People are telling you. And all you keep doing over and over and over is saying it's fake.
Friends speaking out tonight. Stacey Williams, a former Sports Illustrated model who dated Epstein in the early 90s, has spent time with both Epstein and Donald Trump together. In one disturbing alleged incident, which Williams went public with last year before the presidential election, Williams says Trump groped her in front of Epstein at Trump Tower in 1993. Here's what she told our Sunland Serfati when she first broke her silence.
The second he was in front of me, he pulled me into him, and his hands were just on me and didn't come off. Then the hands started moving, and they were on the side of my breasts, on my hips, back down to my butt, back up, sort of. Then they were just on me the whole time, and I froze.
Williams also claimed that Epstein and Trump looked at each other and smiled during the alleged incident, which Williams says she now believes was coordinated and, quote, some kind of weird, twisted game. Trump denied Williams's allegations through his campaign at the time, which said in part, quote, it's obvious this fake story was contrived by Kamala Harris's campaign. And Stacey Williams is out front now to speak out for the first time.
Let me stop it right there. You see, even the talking head for the White House said it. This is just a Kamala Harris conspiracy. That lady spoke up and said her truth, and I wasn't around to verify it. I don't know. I can't say it's not true, but let me just say that must be a Kamala Harris scam. Exactly, Carpe Diem. It's like they shared more than just the plane flights. I mean, goddamn. You know, these MAGA people, Trump said it himself. He said I could go out on Fifth Avenue, pull out my gun, shoot somebody in the head, and my people would still follow me. They would still support him. And he's right. He's right. They do. It's just that simple. That's what we're witnessing. We're witnessing the Scooby-Doo pedo hunters. You know what I mean? When they pull off the hood and they see who it is, they're like, damn, it's another Republican? Let me put that hood back on. Never mind. Let's go find a different one. That's basically what they do. They've been hunting themselves. You know, it's crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like, they hunting their damn selves. You know, it's dog eat dog for MAGA. You know, and I mean, what other group of people give up their due process? You know, I've never seen a group of people give up their constitutional rights while having guns that fast. So I'm really at a shock about MAGA. I thought they would pull the guns out and fight for the Constitution. I'm seeing now that was bullshit too. That's just phony. It's just something they like to rock around and bang. They like to threaten a few people here and there, just enough. But the reality is they won't pop a shot for the Constitution a day in their goddamn life. They are willing to give up their due process for a pedophile. That's basically what you're dealing with MAGA. You know, they just like to keep it in the closet, the pedophilia. You know, they like to have it, but they don't like to talk about it. You see what I'm saying? That's really what's going on there. You know, I don't know what's powerful about grown-ass men raping 12-year-old, 13-year-old, 14-year-old, 15-year-old, 16, 17-year-old girls, 18. I don't know what's so manly about that. But, I mean, cults exist. You know, all these cults are like that. I mean, Jim Jones, he got people to fucking, you know, kill themselves, you know, with his talk. I mean, and I mean, there's more. Look, you don't only have this in the realm of white Christian nationalism, right? You have a lot of pedophilia in white Christian nationalism because they go for this stuff, this idea that there's some inherent race that's superior, right? But listen, they're not the only ones. That you have some black supremacists that's also mentioned on the FBI's list that are just like these white supremacists, Christian nationals, and they're also into pedophilia. You see what I mean? So it's a common theme for men that want to scam their communities always talk this superior shit. And then they're literally raping and pillaging their own people. That's what's actually going on here. It's not special at all. Let me read. You know, I don't mind the bots. I don't mind the bots because you know, it gets the word out. They help get the word out. But I'm gonna read some of this stuff. But folks that understand what I'm saying, don't worry about some of the MAGA folk because they're having a hard time right now trying to figure out why these Epstein tapes are not going to be released by these Republicans in control of the House and the Senate. They're having a difficult time trying to understand why would these people be the ones to vote against releasing the Epstein files. And they haven't figured it out yet, you know. So it's hard to support someone and then realize that you made a mistake. But damn, that's what life is about. You're supposed to learn from mistakes. If you learn from mistakes at an early age in life, you can deal with that when you're an adult. But people that always try to point the finger at someone else for their own mistakes, they never learn their mistakes. They never learn how to confront their own mistakes. It's just ridiculous. And they can't see it. They just can't see it. It's hard. When you always had someone to point the finger at, it's hard to pull up your own pants. Basically, you will blame it on the other person. You will say, it's because of the immigrants that my pants ain't pulled up. It's because of the immigrants I don't have health care. It's because of the immigrants I'm poor. It's because of the immigrants I don't have a job or education. It's because of the immigrants. No, it's because of your fucking elected officials don't want you to have it, dumbass, and you keep voting for them again and again, stupid fuck. God damn. How hard could it be? What the fuck? You know what I'm saying? It's called please stop being so easily distracted and led astray. Look, there are apparently enough. Hold on, who is this? Carpe Diem. Yeah, there are apparently enough proof for him to turn against the cult. A man, a man, a man to allege hang himself and a woman who is sitting in jail. So was look. It is so telling how all the people they found to arrest to stop the pedos, the one that went to jail is a woman. I mean, that's just, they can't find another. And now MAGA got a chance to find many more men. Where were all the other men? Where are the Democrats? Where are the Democrats up in that Epstein file? Come on, Republicans. Come on, MAGA. Don't you want to get them? Let's find some of the Democrat pedophiles in the Epstein joints. At least put that out. Come on. Let's see some of them. If you don't want to put it all out, just show us the Dems, then fuck it. I mean, they ain't going to do it. Because truth be told, it's not that many Dems in there in the first place. That's why the Dems are like, okay, where y'all going with this? Okay, this is what your platform is about. Okay, but we already been trying to investigate this fool. You guys keep letting his ass go every time. Acosta took it away from the local courts in Florida the first time. They gave it to Acosta, who's the head DEA of the state, and Costa gave the man a plea deal so he could cover up his relationship with Trump and other wealthy men. That's what happened. So now you get a second time to do something and you still ain't doing shit. So it's a clear pattern here. It's a clear pattern. You guys have the power. You don't even want to expose the Dems anymore. That's what's going on here. You don't want to expose no pedophiles. That's what's going on with MAGA. And that's what's going on with the Republican Party. But they did agree to Elon Musk. He should get a tax break. All the wealthy, all the 188 people should get a tax break. And how they're going to pay for that tax break is by taking away emergency disaster assistance from red states and blue states. They're going to take away some of your Medicare, some of your the funding for your education, for your schools. And see, you might have had a class where you were complaining about 15, 18, 20 kids in one class in those red states. Well, guess what you're going to have now? 30. Welcome to your reality. You're going to have 30 in a class. You didn't want to help with the child care, so you're going to have less people wiping babies' asses. That's what you're going to have in your daycare because they got to cut pennies now. And they weren't allowed to receive any of those Democrat blue state federal income tax dollars collected to help you in the red states. They weren't allowed that. And they weren't even allowed the blue states weren't even allowed to help themselves. No, that's all been taken from y'all. It's you already crossed the line. So you have to deal with that now. You're going to have to deal with the price of goods going up. I mean, how much you pay for your eggs? Do you like the price of beef? Do you like the price of your juice, orange juice, right about now? I mean, hey, it's what you voted for. It's what you voted for. You can take it, though. You're strong enough. You could take a little whipping. Why not? Our slaves are tough in America. They could take that ass whipping. They'll take it and get out there in the fields the next day. Get your ass out there. Whoosh. I mean, hey, I understand Americans are toughest people on earth. Toughest in the West. They work hard. Never asked for anything. They did it all themselves. Nobody ever helped them. Nobody ever helped them. Not at all. Nope. My granddaddy did it all by himself. He came to this country 2 generations ago and lifted himself up without no help. I know how you feel, MAGA. You could do it all by yourself. You don't need any help. And that's basically what Trump and the Republicans and the wealthy Republicans are saying. They're saying, yeah, that is true. You don't need any help. And you said, okay, I don't need any help. Oh my God, look at this. Food prices will never be what they were 5 years ago. They never go down. Man, and listen, first of all, there was a problem in the U.S. before you got this secondary problem. You already had a problem with elitists in the U.S. Just the basic idea that is unsustainable. The idea that taxes are to be taken from the average worker to give to everyone else that doesn't need it. You see, so you can pay for bombs. And I don't have any problem with defense, because defense protects the homeland, and it protects your trade. It protects your businesses abroad, which generate wealth. But if you're not going to share any of that wealth with the American people, what fucking good is it? So that was the problem. This idea that you don't need social programs. You don't need fair and equal access to education. The idea that educated people, that you should pay for education is classist. That's classism. The idea that everyone who wants to better themselves, to get an education, can, because it costs nothing and we all benefited from an educated society. That's the part that the USA should have been on long ago. I agree with that 100%. And so do other Western nations agree, because they have done it. See, the US was already a little wrong on an unsustainable route long ago, because they didn't believe that everyone being healthy makes a stronger population and better workers. The actual capitalists didn't believe that. It was extreme capitalism in the US. You see? So instead of you being protected from diseases so they don't spread to my family next door or in the class or in the school, you see what I mean? Instead of a person not actually having a fair chance because of a basic disease that could be solved if they get access to health care, but they just can't because they can't afford it. They have to choose between dinner on the table for their kids and actually seeing a real doctor. That is not sustainable. But the U.S. was already on that path before Trump. They were already on that path before Obama. You guys been on that path since goddamn Reagan. Since Clinton. I mean, not Reagan. Who was before? Carter. Before Nick. You were on that path with Nixon. With Nixon. You guys been on that path while the rest of the Western world has had universal health care, free education, even paid education, fair housing, guaranteed fair housing. You know what I mean? Not that everyone has the same, but that at the very least you still have something. You see what I mean? A place to rest your head for your child and yourself and your family. At the very least, you have that. You may not have a mansion if you don't have a job or education, but you have at least that. You may not have the best degree, but if you want to get it, you can. You may not have the best, and that's in the EU. If you want, you may not have the best technical skills, because you can't afford it in the US. But in the EU, if you want to better yourself in trade, you can, because it's not about the money. All you got to do is sign up for the program because they need more workers like you. See, that's already been the problem in the US, but that was never dealt with because of corruption. Because of, guess who? The corrupt pedophiles. You see people like Donald Trump, they don't give a fuck about you. They want to sit here and tell you this idea about how they know what it's like to be American when their own goddamn families don't even fucking come from America. They weren't even around in the U.S. during the War of Independence, during the Civil War, or anywhere close to that. They just come over here being assholes, being rich, and pretend like they've done something. Pretend like they've laid their life down on what it is to be American. They have not. Donald Trump has not fought in no goddamn war. He is not a Vietnam vet. He's not a World War II, World War I, or World War II, or Korean vet. He's not. His family had nothing to do with the Civil War, where they weren't even in the U.S., let alone any other thing. You see what I'm saying? Like, you just have to support the people that really do these things for real in real life. You know, you're way past the John McCain days. You're way past the John McCain days. John McCain was more like a centrist. Like, he didn't believe in necessarily too much social programs. Not too much. But at the same time, there's certain principles you're not going to step on. He's not going to be a racist, because he knows damn well that when he was fighting those wars, he was fighting side by side with somebody else from another ethnicity that's just as American as him, putting their life down. He wouldn't dishonor that. You see, that's the difference. But we're way past that now, because now we got so-called conservatives and right-wingers that don't even give a fuck about the military vets. They don't even give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. Man, this is just... Look, Love said this guy talk about he got an education like he got one. I mean, well, I tell you what. I have a union job. I have that much. I do have an education, actually, to be honest with you. You probably don't recognize what it is. But, you know, and not only that, you know, actually, even if I couldn't get into a class, I'm still bettering myself every single day. But that doesn't mean I'm irrational and illogical. I'm going to tell the truth. If I want to go downtown tomorrow, even at my age, and sign up for a university class or a new technical trade, money is not the problem. It's free where I live. And I'll even get a check if I need it. I can do it while I go to work. You see what I'm saying? Like, I have health care. My kids have health care, full health care. They get paid to go to school. So, I mean, again, you know, it's not about acting like it. It sounds to me, Love, like you projecting, you know, because these things, you have an education or not, you should know these things anyway. You see, that's the thing about it. You know, the fact that you don't know this stuff, I don't know what kind of degree you have, Love. I don't know what kind of trade skill you have or technical knowledge you have. But you should know that after you get your paycheck, after you pay your taxes, after you pay for your food, your housing, your shelter, your clothes, your electricity, your phone bill, you take home less money than the average European after they've taken care of all of that. You should know that, regardless of what your education is. You should know that. That's a fact. You see, so I don't know what your education, what point it brought you to, but it brought you to, what, voting for Trump? Is that what it did? Because I would say you probably ain't that good at whatever it is you're doing, you know, straight up, you know. Oh, my God. Trump is too, Topaz. Trump is too young to be a vet for World War One and two. Vietnam War, anybody? Oh my God. Trump's ass is old. He's about to fucking die. That's his saving grace is that he's gonna die. He won't be held accountable for shit. And you dumbasses are just so stupid. You're gonna follow it. You happy you just praising Trump. Thank you, Trump. I'm so happy you gave the rich that tax break, and I'm so happy you taking away our health care, and fucking with our parents' social security. I'm so happy, you're making the prices go up on things. Thank you, Trump. And I'm really, really happy you're going to die and never be held accountable. That's MAGA for you. That's MAGA for you. They vote for some weird stuff. They support some weird stuff. I mean, it's just, hey. And they definitely don't admit mistakes. That's for damn sure. Yeah, look at this. Somebody wrote this. Look at this. Casey, please, not another liberal loser live stream. That's so funny. That is so funny. This is really, this is just hilarious. I like that, I mean, look at this. Here's Zeno. Sad that Trump has to clean up Biden's. Is he cleaning up Biden's mess? Is that what you think? You think things are getting better or they getting worse? You think he's cleaning up Biden's mess, huh? So how come he ain't releasing the files then? What about the pedos? What about the pedos? What happened to the pedos? You don't think Biden's in there? You don't think any of the Biden mess is in the pedophiles and the Epstein pedophiles? Apparently you want him to clean up Biden's mess, but you don't want him to go into those pedophiles. I get it. I get you. Let's see here. Bulls Woodworks says best POTUS in the history of the U.S. Okay, yeah. Well, he's damn sure running like a chicken from the Epstein files. I mean, goddamn. I mean, he has made so many excuses about his friend, one-time best friend, who likes him young. He's just really and if you are a pedophile, you should support Trump straight up. If you have money, though. If you have money. If you don't, you shouldn't, because he don't give a fuck about broke asses. It's just that simple. He's classist, Being a pedophile is not good enough. You got to be a rich one to get around his circle and to, and to be cool with it, to get down with the program. Let me see here.
Do this interview on my free will, on my own free will.
Okay. Was anything promised to you if you do this interview?
There was nothing promised to me for doing this interview. No.
Hang on, guys. Yeah, we need quiet. One more time, please.
No, there was nothing promised to me for doing this interview.
Excellent. Everything that you will tell us during this interview, is it the truth?
Yes, everything that I say at this interview will be the truth.
Absolutely. Okay. So let's start with, how did you meet Donald Trump?
I met Donald Trump at some parties I attend that I was working for Mr. Jeffrey Epstein. 4 times that I had encountered.
Yo, I don't know, Topaz Smith, you seem to be not listen. You don't listen too well. I'm not only talking about one war. You need to listen better. Okay? You're totally changing the whole point of what I said. Topaz says, my father was in combat for England in World War II at the age of 18 years old. He is 95 years old now. Get your facts straight. What I said was Trump's family has nothing to do with any war in the U.S. I'm talking about him, the type of American he is. His family was not, again, I'm going to repeat myself because these MAGA people got the hardest heads on earth. Trump's family has nothing to do. They were not in the country during the War of Independence. So his family did not shed blood like my family did. Both sides of my family. Trump's family was not in the country during the Civil War. So his family did not shed any blood during the Civil War like my family. Both sides did. Trump's family has not been a part of any war. Korean War, Vietnam War, World War II, World War I, zero. That's what I said, Topaz. Please stop missing my statement. But you're going to do it again anyway, because that's MAGA. Goddamn. Y'all some hard-headeds. It's crazy.
With Donald Trump.
And how old were you when you met him?
I was 13.
13. And how did the initial meeting, how did that work?
Whew. The first time that I met Donald Trump was...
Guys, seriously, we need absolute quiet. Okay, sorry.
And the first time that I met Donald Trump was at a party at Jeffrey Epstein's mansion. There was an orgy going on, and he was kind of watching off in the distance. And he basically asked if I could come over and give him a hand job. And at first, I wasn't very comfortable with it. This was like my first party, and I didn't think that was my responsibility. But my recruiter told me that I needed to do it, so I agreed to. And then he, I began to. Sorry, this is a little difficult, but before I gave him a hand job, he kind of slapped my hand away and said, you need to use a glove. And the recruiter ran over and handed me a glove and said, no one touches Mr. Trump's penis without a glove. So I needed to use a glove. I gave him a hand job, and then immediately after, he had an orgasm, he left, and I didn't see him again at that party.
And the person having the party, who is this person?
It was Mr. Jeffrey Epstein was having the party.
And for those who don't know, who is Jeffrey Epstein?
As Jeffrey Epstein is Jeffrey Epstein is a billionaire friend of Donald Trump's that was responsible for throwing the sex parties.
And when you say you're a recruiter, what does that mean?
There was, I originally came to New York trying to be a model, and in my travels, I met a girl named Tiffany there.
Now we had a little freeze up moment. 2 seconds. Let me just check it out. Okay, we back. All right, I could see we had a few comments in the chat here. Just a couple of interesting comments, kind of a little disrespectful, but I just want you to know that you don't have to divert to guessing about people in a personal way. Like, first of all, I just want to say that no, I'm definitely not down low. I'm just a heterosexual dude with kids. But if I was gay, I wouldn't be ashamed of it. Seriously, if I was white, I wouldn't be ashamed of it. If I was Chinese, I wouldn't be ashamed of it. If I was anything, I wouldn't be ashamed of what I am. I would never do that. and I wouldn't advise anyone else to be. But the thing about these kind of comments here is it gives you a good example of what MAGA people do. When they don't have anything to offer themselves, they just basically go to insulting people that they don't know anything about. People that are in other parts of the country they don't know anything about. People that really aren't even harming their lives. They start taking it there in a disrespectful way, you know. But having said that, I'm just going to let that person be, and because I know they live in a bubble that I don't live in, and but we got to do better. I don't know if that person was American or not. Some of you guys are not Americans, and I'm American, but I'm not in the U.S. I'm outside of the U.S. I'm in the EU, so this conversation is for other Americans. It's for Americans, and it's also for my EU comrades, people that are in the EU. You could be from any background, but if you don't have some kind of knowledge about one of these two places, then it's hard to dialogue on what's going on right now, because what's going on in the US affects the EU. What goes on in the EU affects the US, you know. So it's good for folks to have that kind of conversation. But let me ask you guys a question. Are you happy with the price of gas? Are you happy with the price of food in your grocery stores? Are you happy with the cost of electricity? Are you happy with the cost of heating? Are you happy with the cost of transportation in general, housing, healthcare, childcare? Are you happy with those things? I'm just going to see. Oh yeah, yeah, real big. What's up? Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, what's up to you too? Yeah, are you guys happy with how things are? I mean, we don't have to throw insults at each other. Again, you know, I recognize people have the right to their political choices, their political parties and things like that. And I believe that's a good thing, you know. You don't have to always agree. But, you know, this thing about disrespecting other Americans because of it, I find that very ignorant. You know, so I don't really do it myself, because I know people that supported Trump, and I know some of them. Look, and let me tell you a story. One of them is a family member. She used to really come on my Facebook page before the election. She really had hated it. She really hated some of my comments about Trump, about what he was doing. She hated it. She thought it was all make believe. She thought it was all make believe, just like typical MAGA. It's a family member, and she's from the Midwest, though. She's not from the East Coast. She's from the North and the Midwest, and and she went on like that for a long time. She was getting very disrespectful. You wouldn't think it was a family member. Very disrespectful, like just saying, you know, just crude things. And not about me, about other people, about just people in general, you know, talking about homosexuals and talking about things that you don't control in other people, you know, things that are pointless, right? I'm not care. I don't care where the homosexuals. I'm not even thinking about them. I'm thinking about what I need. And if they happen to need the things that I need, like housing, healthcare, things, shit like this, then hey, we cool. That's politics. I don't care. I'm not in your bedroom at night. I can't vouch for what anybody does in their bedroom. I can only vouch for what I do in mine. I can only tell you about that. I don't care what you call yourself. It doesn't mean shit. You could tell people you straight all day, MAGA Mike Johnson. You know what I'm saying? You could tell people you're a Christian all day, MAGA Mike Johnson. Yeah, you say you are. Does it mean you are? No, it doesn't. You know, we got to judge you by your actions, what we can see. So these kind of things, I'm never really down with this kind of approach. But in any case, Trump became the president. You know, slowly but surely, more things coming out, the economy going bad. She watched all that shit start happening. You know, she watched him on his tariff rant. rants, many of them. She watch. Yo, I had to block her ass. She got rude. She was rude. But then I unblocked her. And then I went back to her profile just a week ago. This is like a year long. I went back to her profile. And you know what she had written on there? It's not fair to take elderly people's social security or elderly people's health care from them. Oh, now you get it. Oh, now you get it because see, it's your family being affected now, and you being affected. Your mom's is getting at that age, and your dad is getting at that age. So now you're starting to get it. Yeah, she caught on late, but let me tell you, she's a hell of a lot more smarter than a lot of you MAGA people, because catching on late is better than never. Flat out. It's better than never. There is a difference. And I acknowledge the difference. There's a lot of people that were MAGA that are starting to realize they made a grave misjudgment. And that only happens when people talk to each other. That only happens when people are willing to see that on a basic level, everybody really needs and wants the same things. I mean, on a basic level. I don't mean I need to be telling you what you should eat for Thanksgiving dinner. I don't mean I need to be telling you that you have to have Thanksgiving dinner. I don't mean that. I'm talking about you need a roof over your head. You need clothes on your back. You need water. You need access to education. You need access to health care. You need access to a fair living wage in the place, state you live, in the town you live. That's what I'm talking about. All people should agree with that. And when you're one of these people that doesn't agree with that, and you're still thinking about homosexuals, or you even have the nerve to say you're concerned about pedophiles, and then when you find out, you finally can reveal who the pedophiles are, and you just decide you don't want to, that kind of politics, that's lame. Because you just gave up all the other things to chase some pedophiles that you don't even want to catch. That's lame. It doesn't get any lamer than that. At least catch the goddamn pedophiles if you gave up everything else. At the very least. I mean, that is so lame. I wouldn't have even expected it myself. I wouldn't have expected it, But I'm learning. I'm learning. Yeah, Melanie, I hear you, and you ain't do nothing wrong. You pay taxes. You pay federal income taxes. You pay state income tax. Yo, you shouldn't be crying about having a child. Guess what they're doing in the EU? Where I live. Guess where I live? If you have a child in your home, you get a check. Everyone does. Not because they're trying to, not because they're trying to do everything for you, just because they have a common knowledge of how much it costs to raise a child, and they rather have more homegrown people from their own country be able to support the babies they have instead of always needing to import. Always needing to. How are you against immigrants when you're against your own goddamn American families? That doesn't make sense, does it, Maria? Exactly. I'm in a country where everybody here gets a check for each child that lives in their house. Why? Because they want people speaking Danish. They want people having Danish values. And the only way you can do that is to make sure you support the people to have families. That's how you do it. But when you start saying to yourself, you know what? We got 1.1%, we got 9% immigrants in our country. I don't want their baby to have food on the table. I don't want my taxes to support theirs. You know what happens? Next thing you know, the finger's going to be pointed at you, and then your child is going to have the same problem. Your family is going to have the same problem. And that's what Americans fell for. They fell for these kind of tropes, 9%. It doesn't even matter. Actually, I feel so stupid talking about this because the the situation in the US is, it doesn't even matter. People come to the US because they like American culture, what they see on TV. And they also like the opportunities. If it's a little bit more opportunity, they used to like the opportunity to come and not have a bigot looking over their shoulder from another clan that doesn't like them or from another ethnicity in their own country. So when they come to the US, they don't have to worry about that anymore. A lot of people just come to escape harsh situations and are happy to assimilate. But there's a good way to do it, to do assimilation and expect people to integrate. And there's a bad way to do it, where you isolate them, where you become hostile towards them. And that doesn't make more Americans, you know, and it doesn't. When you can identify what is American and be true about what it is to be American, something MAGA people are not good at doing. First of all, Europeans do not come from America. They migrated to America by ship. African descent don't come from America. They migrated there by ship. They were brought there by ship from Africa, transported. Native Americans come from America. They're the one group that actually their ethnic type comes from there. Okay? They were put and marginalized to the corners of different parts of America, North and South and Central. So today they have to live with the rest of us, including you MAGA folk. And for us to be honest about that, about what it is to be American, we have to be honest about that history. That's what we have to be honest about. The United States didn't become the most powerful nation on earth because one ethnicity, not one gender, not one religion. Even the Christians in the U.S. didn't like each other. That's why they were like, hey, man, we need separation here. Different Christians are going at each other. More mindless shit. And you still have it today. Separation and Christianity, they don't agree. So we got to be honest about these things, and just accept it, but accept that it's not just the United States. It's pretty much the world. People have migrated throughout the history of mankind. Yes, there is nobody that comes from the place they're standing. No one. It just doesn't exist. Maybe in your lifetime, but if you go back enough generations, no. It doesn't work that way anywhere. Even people migrated to Scandinavia. They've been moving around from one place to another. They've been fighting over territories, fighting each other over who's the strong, who's going to rule over the Baltic, who are the real, who's the real king, who's the real, this is just human history. So we got to be honest about that. What made us strong is that we had the most diverse population. That means we had a person to solve every problem. We had a person, a type to solve every solution. If there's something we need at the top, on top of the shelf, we get a tall person. We got tall people. If it's something we need down there low to the ground, underneath there, we get a short person. If there's a small hole in a wall, and we need somebody to get on the other side, get in the other side and get what's over there and bring it back, get the skinny person. You know what I'm saying? The fat ass. If you need someone to float, you get somebody. I mean, you see what I mean? It's just the basics of diversity. You got to accept it. Diversity is what made the United States powerful. That's really what it did. That's really how it got that powerful. And size. but what didn't used to be that size. It can also be broken up if people don't want to act right. If people don't respect what they have, you can lose it. You can actually lose it. And I think, a lot of these people in these MAGA states, they don't think they can lose it. They don't think, but they're looking very close at losing it, because when some weather comes and knocks over your house, your leaders can't even agree on how to fix it. Not anymore. They used to say, hey, we know what it is. These people pay federal tax dollars. Get FEMA down there to help them. Get them down there now to help them do the engineering jobs that can't be done, clearing out some of the trees, fixing some of the electrical lines, taking care of some of the sewage and the flooding, things like this, just things that states aren't capable of doing. There used to be a way to help people. Now there's no way. There's no way right now. So you can lose things. You used to have due process. You could lose it. You could lose due process. Yeah. You used to have the right to your body. Women used to have the right to their own bodies. You could lose it. A pedophile can rape you. And right now in the United States of America, you must have that pedophile's child. According to people like Bush, according to people like MAGA Mike Johnson, because these are the people you elect. If your child in your belly, that child is not developing properly, you can't get an abortion. If you're a woman, not anymore. A woman just died a few weeks ago because one of these red states, they forced her to still try to have a natural birth with a fetus that they knew was going to die. And you know what happened? Because they wouldn't give her the abortion, the woman died. That's what's going on in the U.S. right now. You used to have something else. You lost it. So you're dealing with a situation right now where blue states losing things, red states are losing things. None of them are winning anything. Women are losing their right to control their body. Everyday citizen lost their right to due process effectively. Because when it comes to something like due process, who wants excuses? Who wants damn excuses? I don't want no excuse. Stay away from me. I don't want any excuse. If you coming in my direction, if you don't already have reasonable suspicion that I have actually committed a crime, stay the fuck away from me. Don't ask me shit. But you lost that right. Just over your vote. You voted for someone that doesn't respect the Constitution, and you voted for a party that doesn't. And they were like, okay, yeah, well, you don't need that. And you got people appointed in the Supreme Court that's like, hey, you know what? Maybe the military can patrol the civil population. Maybe we got that wrong for the first time in U.S. history. I mean, you can lose a lot. Background is a factor. Child care is killing me. Yeah. Yeah, real big Larry. Just hopping on to say good night. Yeah, good night to you. Good night to you. Yeah. Get in the car. Get in the car says my God indoctrinated me. Yeah, so I just think Americans need to really start talking to each other because nobody else is going through this. Nobody else is going through this, and people can point Americans in the right direction, but they can't do shit for you. The Canadians can't make you get your shit together. Danes can't make you get your shit together. Greenlanders can't make you get your shit together. Nobody can make you get your shit together. You got to get your shit together yourself. Why? Because you're 350 million people. It's hard to force 350 million people to act civilized. That's hard. That's a hard job for anybody, you know? And yeah, you have 80 million people each presidential election that don't vote. That's more people than vote for either party. Nobody on the outside can make you vote, but nobody on the outside can force you to respect people's right to vote. And they can't make you respect your fellow American. Not in the same way other people, Danes, respect their fellow Dane. Not in the other way Canadians, can respect their fellow Canadian. All places have issues, but damn, the U.S. is really out of pocket right now with this stuff, man. It's really out of pocket. Yeah, I mean, I never thought I never could imagine that I would see this day. I could never imagine it. And I have to actually explain to people sometimes how, I didn't vote for Trump over here. I have to tell people that, I didn't vote for Trump, just so they understand, because Trump has really affected the image of Americans internationally. Like, Trump has really done that. And what you have is a lot of Americans outside of the U.S. explaining to people for the first time, having to explain to people, just so folks understand that no, we're not against you. Americans in Denmark are not against Danes. We're not against the Danish government. We respect Denmark, and we're pro Denmark. We understand why things are better this way. Because we've had an opportunity to live in this society. So we understand why it's better from a practical perspective, not just a theological one, or, not just some theory that we're making up. It's a lot of Americans across the EU that, they're trying to tell other Americans what things really are like, and it's like you have a fringe of Americans inside the U.S. that just don't want to listen to nobody. They don't want to hear anything from anybody. And even if their president turns out to be a pedophile that they said they were looking for in the first place, just finding that out, they're going to ignore that too. So you're dealing with a dynamic that is like, at the end of the day, the people inside of the country, Americans inside of the country, and the voters are going to have to deal with that reality. But I just thank God that I live in a country where, outside of the U.S., where ICE ain't fucking with me. There's no ICE walking around. There's no military walking around in my neighborhood. There's there's just same old police that's always been there doing what they do. But then again, they have a lot less to do because people have something to do. If you don't want to be involved in crime over here, you can just go to school. If you don't want, if you don't have to commit crimes to get health care, to afford health care. You don't have to commit crimes to afford housing here. So police, they're busy, but not that busy. In the U.S., goddamn, it's just becoming more militarized, more poverty, more poverty. Yeah, more extremes in the U.S. More extremes, a lot more extremes. Pretty much self-inflicted. No preparation for the weather changes. No preparation for global for the climate change. Zero. Yeah, the nuts were like, nah, that's not real. That's fake. Meanwhile, in the country I live in Denmark, something like 80%, maybe even 90% now of the power lines are all buried underground. So a storm can't just knock the power out in residences or in businesses. They've been updating the flood systems, the what do you call it? What is it called? What is it? Damn, I'm forgetting the English word. What is it called when you the drainage, right? The drainage systems. They've updated that. They've been doing that. They started doing that 20 years ago. It was called the Green Plan, you know? So a lot of money was invested in that. A lot of the tax money was invested in safety. Safety. And climate change is a safety hazard, you know? So when you do see it's getting more rain here or more water, yeah, but they did update the drainage systems in the city, in Copenhagen and outside. They've been working on this for a long time, 20 years. So the effects are far less. People can still function during these things. They've been doing a lot of other infrastructure things regarding climate change for a while. Denmark is one of the top countries that really took that serious with their tax dollars, and the taxpayers are happy for it. Just like they were happy for education, just like they're happy for these other things, they're happy for that too, and people see the benefits of it. A lot of streets, the public transportation is one of the best in the world. Literally, I'm not exaggerating. It's got to be top 5 in the world. It may be less. You could fly right into the country, into the main airport, Kastrup. The metro is right there. The metro is not 15 minutes from the airport. It's not 10 minutes from the airport. It's in the airport, in the terminal itself. Okay? So you just get off with your bags and hop on the train, and you right in the center of Copenhagen, right down. You right in the center, and you can get anywhere in the city by metro or train or S train or bus. All of it's connected. So public transport is strong here. It's one of the best in the world. On time, everything, efficient. Then they have the bike lanes. If you don't want to ride that, you can, the bike lane is its own lane. It's not just a little line on the street. No, it has its own little cant that separates it from the street, from where the cars drive to. So if the cars drive into the bike lane, it's like driving up on the sidewalk. It's like boom, right? But it's not the sidewalk. It's a bike lane. These are things, the capitalists in the U.S., the extreme capitalists in the U.S., they don't want to use the taxpayer dollars on the taxpayers. That's essentially what it comes down to. And now things are more extreme than they ever been. You got the most extreme version of that because you didn't deal with the last extreme version of it. You tried to build upon a theory that's just broken, and if the U.S. started using its tax dollars for the things that its people need, if they use the tax dollars for the people, the U.S. will be even more powerful than it is today, because more of the money would not just disappear into rich people's pockets and then go into foreign banks. That's basically what it is. Yeah. Right now, that money is just flying out the door, and you're going to see the U.S. dollar sink. You're going to see less investment in the U.S. And, yeah, you're going to get more people you never seen before all of a sudden pop up and be like, yeah, get those foreigners. You're even going to see the foreigners saying that shit. Get those illegals. You're going to see illegals saying it. Get the illegals. Just because it works in politics, instead of people running on platforms that are like healthcare, get that healthcare. Nah, you're going to see more Cash Patels talking about get the illegals. First generation immigrant talking about get the illegals. Yeah. Anyway, folks, I just wanted to say what's up with y'all. I'm glad I didn't really want to go too deep. It's some stories I want to talk about when I go live next. But I did want to have a chance to see if I could chat with some folks and, just to see where y'all minds at and everything, because I appreciate people for coming and checking out and supporting. But I am concerned for my folks in the U.S. and everybody's watching on the outside to see what Americans are going to do. Nobody expected this for the U.S. No one would ever expect a president like Trump outside of the U.S. Nobody would have ever expected Americans to elect somebody like that. And people are very sad that they did. But they're more sad for Americans than they're sad for themselves, because Trump really can't hurt anybody else as much as he's hurting American citizens. So on that note, I'm going to say peace, y'all. I appreciate you. I'm going to go make myself a little cup of coffee or a latte, right? And kick back and then take it from there. Peace. Yeah, peace. One.
Ladies and gentlemen,
They want more. Crying babies looking for food. Starvation, the recipe. People subdued. When the people you trust got it in for you. Deceit is the word of the day in every crew. Don't let it go. It's from the days of old. Time is up, but some still do not know. Can I make up my mind? Is it worth the dime? Do I have to take a minute just to make it mine? Life's never fair, but don't listen to the TV. Go out and take a listen to the streets with the people in the slums and the homeless bums with degrees and degrees sitting under a tree. It's not easy in the world for the poor man, the one that brought you to reality. See, they don't want you to know about the black sheep. Even 7 roads to the 12 families all around the globe with an ancient code. Is it really asking a lot to say a death old? Cause we sitting on the earth looking back at extinct, and I'm standing on some ground that's about to sink. I ain't scared for a minute, I ain't about to blink, but I documented for the world what I see and think. Feel we on the call and up and we on the break. All Congress gonna do is waste paper and ink. Vote or die, you voted and you'll die. You can have it both ways, can't say it's a lie. You can march all you want, but they playing you wrong. They only understand war, it's the same old song. They want war, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. All they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. Like a lotus coming out of the mud with colors, I create envy in those with power but jealous. I unify the poor with my song, the hell with the others. Descended the way they treat indigenous brothers, cause I understand we link forever. They try to hate us even though that we keep it together. I'm not talking about controlling the air or the weather. I'm talking about maintaining the truth, the high endeavor. A rebel drops bombs in the midst of trouble. The free world counterattack and now there's double. But nature gets the shit in a way that's subtle. If you stop the machines for a minute, you might hear, but they won't, cause the TVs whisper in the ear. And capitalism has eyes that don't tear, and they cloud up and get crazy and won't steer. And like an ab, it's hard to get an ass to listen. Living like this is like living in prison. It's hard to keep hope when you're living in prison. The spiritual thoughts, so yes, the mental prison. The outside, yes, it's got to get through. Something's gotta die, so something here can live. Your life is nothing if you got nothing to give. Keeping the spiritual, yes, disguised as religion. Controlling your mind, the mental prison. They want war, all they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war. All they really want is a war. Diversionary tactic to make the big score. The diamonds in the morning, you know they want more, but they wanna keep you low, so they manifest the war.